This is the video notes that's going to go with our guiding notes, 1 and 2 step inequalities. Honestly, all of these are 2 steps, okay? Now, if I look at my first example, it's 5x minus 15 less than or equal to 10. And I can go ahead and put in my river right here. Now, I'm going to kind of go a little fast with this because this is review. You did these same problems in 7th grade, okay? Now, I'm going to solve this just like I would if there was an equal sign there instead of that less than or equal to. So we know the first step we're going to do is subtract or add the 15 to both sides because it's subtract 15. Just like that. Put my line under there. I'm going to bring down this 5x right here. Now look right here, I've got minus 15 plus 15. We know those are just going to cancel each other out, and the 15's gone from the left side. I'm going to bring down my less than or equal to, and I've got 10 plus 15, which is 25 right there. Now, we know the next step is to divide by the 5, just like this. Okay, well, we know 5 over 5 are going to cancel each other out. And I've got x less than or equal to 25 divided by 5, which is 5. Okay, now I think that is my answer. But I'm going to check it just to make sure I'm good. To check it, I'm going to pick a number that is smaller than 5. Now I'm going to pick a number that is easy peasy to work with. The easiest number to work with in math is 0. 0 is a number that's less than 5, so that makes it perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check 0. So what that means is instead of putting in 5, I'm going to put 0 into it to see if it works. So I've got 5x minus 15 less than or equal to 10. Now, I always still, just like before, rewrite my problem and I can put in my river. Now, if I notice on this side, I've got just a number, so there's nothing to do here, okay? But I do have to work on this side. Now, I'm going to check 0. So I'm going to do 5 times 0 minus 15. Well, 5 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 15 is going to be negative 15. Now, let's be careful right here. When we're checking inequalities, we're not checking to see if it's equal. We're checking that inequality part, the less than or greater than part. Okay? Is negative 15 less than positive 10? Absolutely. Negative numbers are always less than or smaller than those positive numbers. So this checks out. I'm going to circle that and I'm good to go. Okay. Now, pause your video, copy this down, then we'll move to example 2. All right, in example 2, it's still the basic 2-step problem. So for this time, I have this little minus in there, and that's something we're going to have to focus on. Okay, so let's put in our river right here. Now, we know from our basic 2-step problems that I need to subtract the 16 from both sides, just like that. Okay. Well, we know 16 minus 16 is going to cancel each other out. Now, what am I left here? I'm left with negative 4x greater than or equal to 28 minus 16, which is going to be positive 12. Okay? Now, here is a step that we've got to be careful on. And you learned this in last year in 7th grade. I'm dividing by a negative number. In this last step, if I multiply or divide by negative, what happens with my inequality? It has to flip to go to the other side. Okay? And I've got 12 divided by -4, which is -3. Now I'm going to go back to this little flip deal. Okay? Just think about this. Anytime you divide by negative, you change the sign. Look right here. A negative divided by a negative turned into a positive. A positive divided by a negative turned into a negative. You're changing the signs. So I went from negative to positive, positive down here to negative. You're changing the sign. I'm not only changing the sign of the number, I am changing the inequality sign. Okay, so it flips a greater than to a less than. If I had on a less than, it would flip it to a greater than. Okay. Now, let's check it. Let's pick a number that is smaller than -3. Okay, now be careful. I can't do 0 this time because 0 is larger. I can check something like -4. Now, I'm not going to pick something ridiculous like 57 or something like that. I'm going to pick a nice, easy number to do math with. So -4 is smaller than -3 because remember, we'll scribble right here on the side. On your number line, -4 falls to the left of -3, which makes it smaller. Okay? Now be careful when you're picking those negative numbers. Now, I'm going to rewrite my problem. 16 minus 4x greater than or equal to 28. And I'm going to put in my river. Again, I only have variables on one side of my inequality, so I only have to work on one side. Okay? Now, let's take a look. 16 minus 4 times what? -4, right there. And that's got to be greater than or equal to 28. Now, look right here. 16 comes down. -4 times -4. If I just isolate my multiplication fact, -4 times -4 is positive 16. So I'm going to write plus 16. Now, 16 plus 16 is 32. And that's at the bottom here. It says that 32 is greater than or equal to 28. Is that true? Is 38 larger than 28? Absolutely true. So that checks out, and I've got a good answer right here. Okay? Now, pause your video. Make sure you've got this copied down. Now, let's scoot to number 3. Number 3 and number 4 have fractions. Okay, that's the focus of these, okay, is your fractions, because this always drive people crazy. Okay, now, honestly, I might just go ahead and turn that into a decimal. Okay, so -1/2 is what? 0.5x plus 3. Which is less than -7. Okay. Now, oh, I didn't put my river in, did I? Let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Now, if I do this, I'm working the same way I worked the last two, sorry. Now, so subtract the 3 from both sides, just like that. What's going to come down? 0.5x less than, because we know 3 minus 3 right here is going to do what? They're going to cancel each other out. Now over on this side, I've got -7 minus 3, which is -10. Now, what am I going to do right here? I'm going to divide by -5. And I left my negative off. Let's put it back on there. Just like that. Now, what happens when I divide by negative? Right here. That flips, doesn't it? So it goes that way. Now, these 0.5s are going to cancel each other out. And that leaves me with x on this side. Now over here, negative 10 divided by negative 0.5. All right, put that in your calculator, you'll come up with positive 20. Okay? All right, now, let's pick a number that is larger than 20 to do our math with. Okay? I'm going to pick an even number larger than 20 only because I'm going to have to take half of it. And if I take half of an odd number, it gets a decimal. Okay? So why don't we check 22. Let's just pick x equals 22 is the number we're going to check right here. Now, I've got negative 1/2 x plus 3 less than 7. Now remember, I could have picked any number for x as long as it was a number larger than 20, okay? Because my answer should be any number larger than 20, okay? So I've got negative 1/2 of 22 plus 3. This is why I picked an even number, because when I take half of 22, I'm going to get negative 11. I don't have a fraction or decimal to have to deal with, okay? If I'd have picked an odd number like 21, I would have, okay? Now, negative 11 plus 3. That is negative 8. Is negative 8 less than 7? Absolutely. Again, negative numbers are always smaller than positives. So that checks out, and I know my answer here is good to go. Okay? Pause your video and let's copy this down. Now, let's go to number 4. Okay? Number 4 I picked for 2 reasons. One, the x is on the wrong side of the problem, and also has a fraction. Okay, again, so just another fraction one. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip my sides. Okay, so I'm going to put the 3/4 x minus 4 on the right side and 8, I'm sorry, on the left side, and put the 8 on the right side. So all I'm doing is flip-flopping the sides. But when I flip-flop the sides, I've got to flip-flop the inequality, okay? Because just think about right here. It's saying 8 is larger than all of this. Well, if 8 is larger than all of this has got to be smaller than 8, okay? Now, let's go ahead and we're going to add our 4 to both sides. Yeah, I know I didn't change that fraction to a decimal. I'm not going to this time. I want you to see what we can do with it as a fraction. The 4's right there are going to cancel each other out, and I'm going to have 3/4 x less than 8 plus 4, which is 12. Now, what am I going to divide by if I leave it just like this? I am going to be dividing by 3/4, right? And that kind of looks funny and oddball writing it like that, doesn't it? But what does that really mean? That means I'm going to do 12 divided by 3/4. Now, could I put that into my calculator? Absolutely, I can. I'm going to pull out my calculator right here. Okay, and I just want to put that in. Let's put in the 12 divided by 3/4. And what do I get? I got 1. Okay, now that's not right. Okay, let's see what we can do with that. Do you know how to put your fraction in parentheses? Okay, you remember doing this last year, putting it in your parentheses around your fraction? And this time, when I did 12 divided by 3/4 using my parentheses, what did I get? 16. Now, I did it this way to show you something. Make sure you don't do this, because it's going to give you the wrong answer. because he doesn't understand those last lines, whether it's divide or fraction. So 12 divided by, put your fraction in parentheses. Now we do have to use we use a divide key for that fraction line, that's fine. But putting the parentheses makes the calculator understand 3/4 is a fraction. Keep it together. So what I've got right here is x is less than 16. Okay, so I just want to check that and make sure I'm good. So pick me a number less than 16, something that's easy to work with. Oh, wow, I love 0. 0 is less than 16, okay? So I'm going to check x equals 0. So I'm going to come back right here. And put in my river, just like that. Now, let's substitute 0 for x. So 3/4 times 0 minus 4. And that's got to be less than 8. Well, 3/4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 4. But 0 minus 4 is -4, right? Is -4 less than 8? Absolutely. Again, it's that negative number is always smaller than a positive. So that makes that my correct answer. Now, go ahead and get these copied into your interactive notebook, and then you can go to Canvas and find your assignment that goes with these examples.